We're going to take a look at the color selection tools in SimpleSeps. You know, SimpleSeps is really about everything that you need to successfully manage objects, colors, and color separations in CorelDRAW. And we're going to see some powerful features in this session that have been developed into the system to save you time and give you the ability to create better designs faster, to leverage halftones, creating shading and highlighting, putting pop into your designs on the fly, and then generating your white bases and separations without errors. You know, when I was managing the art department at Custom Logo, we'd see these type of projects that we're going to look at here in just a minute all the time. I mean, people were always bringing different types of files and different types of setups. We found ourselves always grappling with the number of objects. A client would grab a piece of clip art from a clip art CD set or something from the internet that was in vector from Adobe Illustrator. And we'd open those files and find that we had hundreds of objects to deal with in those files, and you'll see that in this session. Our selection tools have been developed to specifically help you deal with client supplied art or the clip art that you're finding on DVDs or across the internet as Illustrator files. It doesn't come in the spot colors. There's hundreds, sometimes thousands of objects in these particular designs, and you need to be able to very quickly tweak them, put a little pop on them, and get them out into production. And you'll see that in this session. We'll go ahead and take a look at page 2. And here on page 2, you can see we've got a pretty standard client supplied logo file. You can see that our client went and got some grapes and a wine glass and created a logo called the Wine Shop. Not the greatest looking logo in the world, but we deal with these types of projects all the time in custom apparel and screen printing projects. And I can see that looking at this file, I've got a number of things I'm going to need to deal with. And first thing I want to do is I want to do some evaluation. So obviously what I'll do initially is just take a look at how many objects I'm dealing with. So I'll just go ahead and left click, lasso, and select everything. And I'll see that I'm dealing with approximately 371 objects. And I've got to do some tweaking or changing in this design. First thing I want to do is get rid of this green outline here that I'm dealing with around the outside of the grapes. And if I click on this, I can see that I've got, this is going to be a number of objects here. I really don't want to go around clicking on all those. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and select here, and what I want to do is we'll use SimpleSeps to go ahead and get rid of those. Go to our Advanced Tools and SimpleSeps, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead to Color Management here, and I'll click on Create Palette. And I can see that from this palette I'm going to have 11 colors. I don't have everything in the graphic selected, but I want to take this light green, come down here to Select Objects and click on Fill or Outline. I want to get all of that color. And then click on Select Objects, and you can see now that I've selected these objects, I've actually selected 91 objects. If I had to go around and delete every one of them, I have to sit here and click redundantly 91 times and hit the delete button. But all I need to do now is just go ahead and hit delete, and those will be removed. Now I missed a spot over here, and I can go ahead and grab that and delete it manually. So now I've deleted all those objects. I've got that out there. What I want to do is I want to take these grapes that the client gave me with this piece of artwork, and I want to put some highlighting on that. Add a little bit of pop to the design, make it look a little bit better for the client. If I go ahead and click on one of these grapes, I'll be able to tell what color that is. So when I create my palette, I'll be able to select it. I can see that that's that particular purple there, that light purple. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and lasso everything here. Click on Create Palette, and I'll grab this purple, and I'll come down here again and click on Select Objects. And then the next thing I can do is I can simply go to my Properties bar here. We'll expand this out, move SimpleSeps over, and I'm going to change my fill to a fountain fill. Now, I already had this purple set up here from prepping for the tutorial, but I could go ahead and change this from a black and white to a purple and white, as you can see there, and now I've got some pop built into these grapes, some highlight to give them a more realistic shape, as you can see there. And I did all of that without having to go around and click on all 57 of the objects. So you can see that I can select these objects and do any number of things with them. If I go back up here, you'll see that I have my properties bar available, and I could weld these and do all kinds of different things with them based on selecting all the objects with that color property at one time. Now that I've gotten rid of my green outline and I've added the highlighting and shading to my grapes, which are going to come out as halftones, the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and prep this file for color separation. And the way I'm going to do that, I'll go ahead and minimize my Docker here, put SimpleSeps over here. I'm going to go ahead and delete this yellow-black background that I have. Go ahead and select all of my objects and start doing some tweaking here. First thing I'll do is evaluate my colors. I got 281 objects. That's come down because the objects that I deleted. I click on Create Palette, and I can see I've got 14 colors or number of colors and tints is also 14. If I go to show color names, I can see that this is black, white, unnamed colors. There's no way I'm going to be able to separate these. So I want to click off show color names, and I want to select the colors that I'm going to be working with. I want to work with a black, a white, a green, and a purple. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and click on black, white, green. You can see I'm selecting these color palettes here. Our palettes are very different from the standard color palettes in Corel in that we can select multiple colors and make changes at the same time. Then I'll go over here and click on a purple, as you can see there, and I think this is all I'll need. I'll need 1, 2, 3, 4 colors including the white. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to change my increments to 2, and this is how many increments of this density it'll be in my color palette. We're going from 15 to 85. Really don't want to print beyond 85 or less when we're dealing with spot colors in CorelDRAW. Then I'll come down here and simply click on one-click color conversion, and we'll let that process, and you'll see that instantly I'll get my colors converted and I'll have a tinted color palette that I can use to tweak and change my design. Now once that's done, I've got the majority of the work done relating to my colors. I can see there's a few things I'm going to need to tweak here, and that's going to be the color of the wine in my glass. Now I'll go ahead and select this bottom wine color and click that with 100% purple, and the one on top up here, which would have some reflection, that'll come down to a bit of a lighter density, as you can see there. Now my file is prepped for color separation. I've made those changes and everything's ready to go. Got a little bit more shading and highlighting, and all of our colors are brought down. The next thing I want to do is go ahead and generate my separations. So I'm not going to need my tinted palette anymore because I'm not going to do any more tweaking. We'll go ahead and close this. Go ahead and open SimpleSeps. Go to the Separations tab. I'm going to go ahead and generate an underbase, and I'm going to use a 1-point choke. Now I won't get any choke underneath my black because we don't put any white underbase under our black. And you'll notice that SimpleSeps also matched the green with the green that was in the stem that was formerly that brownish or golden yellow color. Not going to go with halftones or anything like that in this particular separation. We're just going to go ahead and generate vector separations with a white base. Now all I need to do next is click on Generate Separations. I'll get my warning here and select OK. And SimpleSeps will automatically generate my color separations for me with a choked 1-point choke white base ready to put out on film, or if I was sending this to a client, let's say I'm a freelance designer and I want to send this to a client, I can send my client their file with their separations already done, all the colors labeled, and a choked white base. And all the client would need to do is output the separations and go to press. Of course, if my client doesn't have a RIP software, they can't print halftones, but they want to, I can also convert everything to halftones for them directly in SimpleSeps, or I can convert everything to a grayscale to send them. And here we can see we've got our white underbase, as you can see there. Now we don't have any black there. And then as we come through, we'll see here we've got our green, and here we've got our Pantone Trans white. The highlights in our grapes are there, and here we've got our purple, which would be our filled glass, and our grapes, and of course here we've got our processed black. So we can see that what we want to do is we want to be able to prep these files very quickly, and our tools in SimpleSeps will allow you to prep these files in a number of ways very quickly, get them into production without the opportunity for human error in your separations and your bases. So we're saving you time and money, and obviously we're not going to print any unwanted films and waste money with that, and then you'll get a full preview of your separation. So we'll go ahead and wrap here, and we'll continue in the next tutorial.